Hello, people of God. Quonda Renee here, and you are watching a live recording of a podcast episode that I am getting ready to record. And I wanted to kind of let y'all in on a little behind the scenes. This is my second time doing a live podcast episode. Usually we record them, we upload them to the podcast, but I wanted to try it again. I did it the other week and I wanted to try again. I got my mic set up over here. I got my water. I am ready to go.
You're now listening to I Need a Word, your place for inspirational messages.
Again, thank you for joining. And if you have not downloaded the I Need a Word podcast, make sure you do so. Go to Apple, go to Stitcher, go to Google Play. The only thing with Google Play is you have to put I Need a Word in quotes in order for it to come up. So today's episode is called Lessons from the Secret Place. Now, I made a podcast about a month or two ago, and it was called God is Exposing Character. So I talked about at that time when I made that podcast, I was in the secret place. All right, so let me give y'all a backstory. August 8th of this year, which was my birthday, my brother was killed and murdered by his best friend, right? So that traumatic experience just shifted me. I was not here spiritually. I felt myself like dying spiritually. Mentally, I was just trying to keep it together for my family. And I noticed, though, I wasn't praying like I should. I wasn't in the presence of God. I could not listen to a gospel song at all. Like, the sound of gospel music was just like, no. And it was because something in the music would make me cry. And at that time, I did not want to cry. So I had to go off to another state to handle his affairs and make sure he was buried. So I was away from home for almost like a month. So then I got back to Atlanta around, I think, beginning of September, I think, something like that. I got back to Atlanta and I just knew something was off with me. And I knew that the only way to get back on track where I needed to be was to be in the presence of God. So I kind of disconnected myself from the world and disconnected myself from everybody and just kind of threw myself in the presence of God. I went on like a fast. I was praying, and every day I would just get up and go into my prayer closet like never before. So during that time of being in a secret place, God taught me like 3 different lessons that I want to share today. So the first thing God taught me was character. Okay, so when I first got into the secret place and I was going seeking God daily, it was like my revelation started to increase. Like, I'm a seer, a dreamer, whatever you want to call it. I can see, right? And so one of the things that I noticed, though, is when I got into the secret place, my sight increased, right? It was just like I started seeing people like I've never seen people before. I started seeing things like I never seen things before. So one of the things that I saw was people that I had called sister, or people that I had called family, or people that I was in relationship and covenant with. One thing that I saw when I was in secret place is that they were now praying against me, right? So you imagine how you feel, like somebody that you done ate with, somebody that you done hung out with, somebody that you genuinely love, you see them praying against you. So imagine how I felt at that time. So I couldn't shake that thing. I didn't understand it. I'm like, I don't understand why they would ever have to pray against me. Like, I love them genuinely. I don't got no ought against them. I was there for them. Like, I just couldn't shake it, right? But the Holy Spirit don't lie, okay? So the Lord I kept bringing that thing in prayer, bringing that thing in prayer, bringing that thing in prayer. I would not let it go. And finally, the Lord was like, you know what? I'm going to set you up. 21 days, I want you to pray. I want you to pray for them. Everybody that's praying against you, everybody that spoke against you, everybody that I shown you, I want you to just pray for them for 21 days. So at first I'm like, what? You mean to tell me, Lord, you want me to pray for somebody that's praying against me? What am I going to pray for them for? What am I going to pray for them? Like, let me keep it real, y'all. I talk to my Father like he's my Father, okay? I don't sugarcoat nothing with God because he don't sugarcoat nothing with me. I'm like, God, I don't know about all that. I don't know about praying for nobody else that's praying against me. And the Lord was like, no. I want you to pray for them. Okay, so I started out and I was like, all right, I'll pray for them, right? So I started doing little corny prayers like, God, just bless them and da-da-da-da. You know, just like it wasn't, my heart and my soul wasn't in that thing, baby. So I got to day 7, right? And I was watching a man of God on YouTube, and he said the Lord had him praying for his enemies for 21 days. He said, but the Lord said, I want you to pray for them like you were praying for yourself. Man, I know that the Lord sent me to that video. I divinely watched that video because the Lord wanted me to pray for them like I would pray for myself. So that day, it's like the spirit of prayer just fell on me. I started praying for them like their life depended on it. I started praying for them like never before. Like I, you know, and in the process of me praying for them for the rest of the 21 days, I started to love them more. I started to see them the way God sees them. They say the Lord changed my heart in the process of me praying for them. It's like everybody says, I want to be like Jesus. 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 I want to be more like God. I want to be more like Jesus. But can you pray for the ones that's praying against you? Can you bless those that's cursing you? You know what I mean? Can the spirit of compassion fall on you and you start to see them through the lenses of God's lens? Man, listen. If you don't want to be like Jesus and let me say this. If you can't pray for people that's praying against you, pray for your enemies, you don't want to be like Jesus. So stop saying it. So during that whole thing, the Lord was, and it wasn't even about them and them praying against, it wasn't about that. The Lord was shaping my character, because if I could pray for people at this lower level where I'm at, imagine when I'm elevated to the next level, when people come against me, I don't even have to think about it. You know what I mean? I'm going into prayer for them. You know what I mean? I'm praying because it will bind their authority over my soul. When you're praying for people that's praying against you, it binds their authority over your soul. Ish, my God from Zion. So the first lesson I learned was character. The second lesson I learned is that there was a price to pay for being in the secret place. Now, when I first went into the secret place, right, I didn't know what was going to come of it. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I noticed when I came out, a lot of people that I thought were friends or I thought that I was walking with were no longer there. So I was almost like my relationship had to end with people in the natural so I can be going to another place in the spirit realm, so I could have a closer relationship with God. And one thing that I learned is that anybody that will make you choose between your relationship with them and God is an enemy to your destiny. Anytime you got to choose God, anytime somebody wants you to choose their relationship with you or their friendship with you over your relationship with God, they are an enemy to your destiny. So there was a price to pay for going in the secret place. I lost relationships. I lost covenants. You know what I mean? I had sacrificed just so I could be with God, just so God could take me to the next level. And it was almost like the last level I was on. I sacrificed that last level so that I could get to this new level that God had for me. My good God from Zion. And then the third lesson that I learned from being in the secret place was the importance of your relationship with God. The importance of your relationship with God. Like, the most important relationship you need to have in your life is not with your husband, it's not with your children, it's not with your best friend, it's with God. You should be spending more time with God than you do anybody else. Because if I needed revelation, I needed wisdom, I needed divine healing, I wouldn't have got any of that if I didn't spend time in the presence of God, seeking his face, building upon the relationship that I had with God. Other people are people. They only could give you to a certain extent, right? And I'm one of those people where his presence means more to me than my position with people, than my relationship with people. Because at the end of the day, this is the Father, the God that I serve is going to be the one to walk me through these hard seasons. It's going to be the one where I'm confused and I don't know where to go, where I'm weary and I'm tired. He's going to be the one that's going to be there for me through it all. He's not going to turn his back on me. You know what I mean? He's not going to let my hand go. He's not going to leave me. He's never going to forsake me. You know what I mean? We go through things. When we go through relationships with people, we're not promised to be in covenant, be in relationship with them forever. And that's okay. But the one who holds forever, the one who will walk with you through this whole life, through this whole journey, when you're confused, when you're sad, when you feel like giving up, is the Almighty God. And so I thank God for the secret place. You know what I mean? When I couldn't find peace anywhere else, I found peace in his presence. My good God from Zion. And I love him. I love him for that. I love him for that. Everything I lost was actually a gain, because I gained momentum in my prayer life. I gained momentum in the spirit. I gained momentum. I may have lost things in the natural, but I gained something greater in the spirit. And I'm just so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that. It birthed the intercessor that resided in me. The intercessor arose in me. My good God from Zion. My good God from Zion. The intercessor arose. The prayer warrior arose. All because I got in a secret place. So don't take for granted don't take for granted your alone time with God. Don't get too busy where TV and social media is more important than spending time with the Father. You want wisdom, you want revelation, you want blessings, you want healing, you want all these things, but are you in his presence? When was the last time you surrendered all to him to get in his presence? When was the last time you sacrificed to get in his presence? And people want to go up and want to be successful. I get it. We all want to be successful. But the more success you have, the greater sacrifice of time that you have to spend with God. It's going to be more of a sacrifice, because the level of success, the more successful you are, the more stuff you got thrown at you, the more stuff you got coming your way. So you have to be able to sacrifice time, even now, to spend with God. If you could do it in a lower season, you're going to be all right when you go up. And what I learned also in the secret place is that it prepared me for my next level. When I came out of the secret place, I realized the old level that I was on no longer served me anymore. It no longer served its purpose. I was done with that lower level. I was done. I mastered. I passed the test. I mastered that level. So now it was time for me to get the training. Now it was time for me to get the notes. Now it was time for me to take this thing to the next level, because I was going to another level. And so I'm not going to hold y'all any longer. This was another live podcast live podcast episode that I was doing, and it was called Lessons from the Secret Place. And I just wanted to share with you guys 3 lessons that I learned while in the secret place. And I learned character. I learned there was a price to pay for going in the secret place. And I learned the importance of my relationship with God. And I love y'all with the love of the Lord. And if you have not, get in the secret place. There is your revelation. There is your wisdom. There is your time with the Father. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Until the next podcast, be blessed.
You've been listening to I Need a Word, your place for inspirational messages. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, or visit ineedaword.org.